Didn't we talk about doing a sidewalk going down to, I got him back east to the ballpark?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, yeah, it's going to go down. That one's still in too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I confused, I was like thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. That's when you go,
Okay, I got 6 o'clock. If everyone will stand for the
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Crown.
Here.
Jerry Jackson.
Here.
Mr. Mitchell. Here. Stephen. Not here. Cammy's typically filling in for Rita, and myself, Tim Bennett is here. So,
Yep.
We need, everyone's had a chance to go over the minutes from July 14th, July 21st, and August 4th meetings. Anybody have any additions or corrections to any of those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from July 14th and July 21st meetings. And the August 4th special session.
Okay. And the second one, Charlie second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. We're gonna go first. Because you got one there later on.
We got them on the agenda.
Okay. Let's go. Monthly reports in, clerk treasurer.
I don't have anything for Rita to address to council. I just have all these documents to sign towards the end of the meeting.
Okay. Fire department, Jason.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I put a monthly report on your packet there. Just wanted to share that we had our fire department retiree dinner last week. Apologize for the kind of the conflict of the town and our dinner, so I'm sorry you guys couldn't make it. Appreciate the text or the call that I got from Rita, expressing that you guys couldn't make it, your support. And I have nothing else to report unless you guys have questions for the fire department. Well, I'm assuming talk about the emergency services garage later, so.
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Josh.
Just want to recognize and thank the Ross Foundation. Earlier this year, applied for a grant from them, got $3,000. $2,000 went to repairs for that mobile speed trailer that we have. The radar unit went out, they had to put new batteries and tires on it. And then they gave $1,000 towards the K9 program. I also want to recognize and thank CASA, Citizens Against Substance Abuse. Applied as the first fall grant from them for field drug testing kits. Got that in. Just to let you know, the Tahoe that I use, I keep having AC issues with it. For some reason, it keeps losing the freon. Last summer, we had it on TP twice. They never could find it. We switched to Dylan's garage. They've now looked over it twice, put dyes in it. We cannot figure it out. So I'm on like week 3, but that seems to be about when I start losing the AC. So keep you guys up to date as much as I can on that issue. Help them.
Are they just doing the dye, or are they suggesting pull it out and?
So Tom TP last year pulled the whole dash out of the thing, went through it. This guy scoped everything. He said he went over every inch of the AC unit and could not find it. So he put extra dye in it this time. It's the mystery of,
They can't replace it in any other, and what?
I mean, without knowing where it's leaking from, I think he doesn't want to just start replacing stuff, and that's not the problem, so.
Yeah. Alright.
So far, he's not charged us for anything. I mean, obviously, I think if he does get it fixed, we'll probably be paying for when he's charging it every time. But he said he's not going to charge us until he fixes.
How long is that lasting you? I mean, it's been really hot for the last.
Yeah, so like I said, I took it to him, at the beginning of the summer, and I got about 3 weeks out of that, and I had to take it back, it was right out, so I'm coming up on that 3-week period since he had it again. So,
Alright.
we'll see what happens, but I'll live, but obviously I don't wanna make the news with K9, so he gets to go home and then he's really pissed when he doesn't get to come to work and I gotta listen to them barks.
Right.
But yeah, so, but I don't want us in the spotlight for killing the dog. Yeah, but any questions for me? Anything?
I don't see those boys on the electric bikes out as much. Usually,
Yeah.
your text messages, or your message.
Yeah, just kids being kids, I'm not to see them out on the streets instead of sitting at home,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I have gotten a couple of them for some stupid things, but
yeah.
other than that.
Utility, that's what's that thing.
How we all doing?
Good.
All right, first time doing anything like this, so bear with me a little bit. Since I've been here, we've, had a lot of maintenance to keep up with, catch up on. And one was the water fountain at the park, we got that installed. And we've had some pump issues at the treatment plant with, or the best way to explain that to you guys, it's the pumps that come from the clarifier that sends through where it's treated, and then it is really, sent back out. We're on what, pump number 3? Recently, yeah. Yeah, and so we've had some issues with that right now. It's all seems to be going good, but we're waiting on those 3 pumps to come back. Hopefully one was bad when we got it, right? Yeah, one was bad right off the bat when we got it, so that was a kind of I'm glad the guy took it back, it's great. So put the one back in, it's working fine. We've got 2 that are working fine now, but that's something we're gonna, if we keep having issues, we're gonna have to address that with somebody, another company or something, because we can't keep having that there, so.
What was did they give an allude to what was it, electrical, mechanical, or failed?
It was, the fail on the one was the thermals, which is electrical.
Yeah.
So, and then the one before they even put it in, it tested bad when he showed up. So he took it immediately back with him. So that's, and the third one, I think that was right before I started, because I was kind of right.
Yeah, I think because there's 2 pumps in the lift station, and I think they were both kind of old. One went bad, and then the other one, I think we just had a spare, and so we didn't have to use our last spare.
So you don't suspect it's a manufacturer issue at this point, it's just mainly possibly failed just due to age, then, is that right?
That's our hope, yeah. We don't have reason to think otherwise, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're hoping, so, but, we've had a lot of maintenance going on out there too, we're gonna continue to have a lot of maintenance, a lot of cleanup. We have 2 dumpsters we filled in the last week of just scrap metal, junk, trash from our, our weekly pickups on the trash and all that, so trying to get all that straightened up. A lot of work on the right of ways that still hasn't gotten finished yet, as far as like bush hogging, and some of them actually need to be trimmed, cut trees down, because it's been so long since they've been anybody's, been able to get out to it, so, not saying it's, anybody's fault or anything, it's just it hasn't been able to been addressed in probably a couple of years, so we're trying to get them cleaned up, so in case we have problems, we can get to that. Let's see what else did I have? We're discussing, trying to figure out what to do about Linover Street and Western Row as far as the patching. Because not seeing Row here.
Yeah.
Not sure when they're gonna be here. And we're going out there about once every week to 2 weeks, filling the holes of gravel. So we're trying to figure out if it would be smart for us to rent the stuff, get some patch, and just try to temporarily fix them until they can actually get in here and do the job. I think they're tied up down here on this 50 project. I don't know what they're,
You haven't got any timeline from it all yet? Nothing?
That's-
it, so.
haven't heard anything, have you?
No, I mean, as
So,
far as our contract, they technically have, I think, till the end of March or end of April. But if they really wait till the spring, I mean, the asphalt plants sometimes won't even open up until late April or May, so they'd really be risking it. I would think by October at the latest, I would expect them to be here, but they haven't given me a date yet.
and I don't think we want to
I
keep it.
think we need to put some temporary patch in there.
Yeah, I don't think we want to keep it that way, especially if they wind up not showing up until very last minute, because then we'll have that all winter, and that's gonna make it a real mess, so. And then the only other things really got to report is, like I said, we've been trying to catch up on all the mowing and stuff with all the parks, and the two part-timers, Tom and Jerry, they're doing great. Trying to keep up with all the weather issues, because it seems like all it did for about 2 weeks was rain, or, day after day, just rain, so, they've actually done a great job on keeping up with that from what we've had to deal with. And then the only other real thing I've got is we did clean up the 2 properties on Moore Street we were talking about. As far as trying to make them look halfway presentable, but the one's pretty rough shape, so I don't know what's gonna go on with that, but we did get to go over and mow and do some weed eating, kind of clean them up a little bit. And that's pretty much all I've got for now, so.
The one you were able to mow? I mean, literally.
The backyard,
Okay, I was gonna
yeah,
say.
yeah, the front was pretty much all weeding, the backyard. You could get a mower into it and do some.
Yeah.
We talked,
Yeah.
we talked about when we have to mow it again here in a month, that we'll probably look at ripping out some of them shrubs or
Yeah.
grinding that stuff down a little better.
Yeah.
I did see that property is on tax sale in September, but my understanding is if it goes on tax sale, there's a year redemption period. But we're still gonna have to deal with it for probably next year, and that's stuff we can still, file liens against the property like we can. So hopefully when it sells, or if it sells, if someone pays for it, then we'll get reimbursed at that point.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty difficult one to actually get looking presentable again. But that's pretty much all I've got. Does anybody have questions for me?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautification, Charlie.
I have nothing for
Main Street, yeah.
So I left a few flyers here for Becky and Charlie, basically for Janet's and the Legion. Dillsboro Main Street, we're doing a raffle, an alcohol raffle basket. We're gonna have tickets available at the summer concert on August 16th. And on Heritage Days, the last summer concert on September 20th. We're just trying to raise some funds for hometown Christmas, arts and crafts on the lawn, and all the other things that we do, veterans card show and things like that. So I got those there. They have a promotion meeting tonight, but I'm here instead with you guys for Rita. So I'll let you know at the next meeting how that went over. Other than that, they're meeting tonight about hometown Christmas, so I don't really think Rod Martin resigned about 10 minutes after he left the meeting here from Main Street. So he's no longer affiliated with that, so.
Did you find anybody?
Tom Maltby stepped up to do that, so. We're always looking for people to be members of Main Street on the board. So throw that out there to anybody who's willing to. We're a fun group. We love Dillsboro, so. I don't think there's anything else. No. Yep.
Legal, John.
Dick, I emailed you that. Did you get it? So,
The 911 matter, I've heard nothing from the county regarding, I think the letter was written and went to Derek with the check. I don't know how many of you guys were on the board the last time something like this happened. But at the time they responded and said, okay, but we need to memorialize the thing in writing. Nothing was said to me about that this time, but a few days ago, I got an email regarding my other towns, and said, no, by the way, here is a 1-year deal that we want to send to you. And unfortunately, I forgot to print it out, so Derek's going to put it up here for me. And I really do think this is more of a paperwork thing than anything. But you can see, whereas provisions, there.
Here we stop anyone.
You can just go back up the top a little bit. Sure. I'll just go over just briefly with you. The statutory authority for entering into agreements is proper. The next, whereas paragraph just say that they operate the PSAP and it is utilized for emergency assistance. And that the town does utilize the PSAP services, because we do get dispatch. That's true. And we're authorized to enter these agreements, and it's being executed. If you go up there, it's in effect from the first day of January through the 31st day of December 2025, which is appropriate, gives an end to it. Just sets forth that we have the authority, executive bodies have the authority to do it. This paragraph here always throws people when they see it, that it is a common part of interlocal agreements now, because there's a statute that says that we make an interlocal agreement, there has to be a board appointed between the two boards involved in case any kind of dispute or anything arises. I've never seen it utilized, but it sets forth statutory that it would be in it. And it is required under that statute. They're going to furnish all dispatching from January 1, 2025 through the 31st of December. And includes all radio, electronic, or other communication required to assist police officers, firefighters, everybody across the board. There's the number in paragraph 6. In paragraph 7, we have to give them the GIS information that we have. I don't know if we really have to do much there, but it's in every agreement. And then the majority of vote for termination can occur with 90 days with notice, and it's in compliance with the Interlocal Cooperation Act. That's why some of the technical language is in it. I guess what I tell the board is I don't see any problem with this. I've told you over and over, don't sign anything that I meant for 3 years. For a single year, I think it would be nice if we've got an outlay of this much money to have something in our file to show us that board accounts and to back up our minutes. That's what we said we would do. So I do recommend, unless there's a question that I have, I think it's worthwhile signing. Derek and I'll get it printed out here a little bit, but I just want you guys to see it and see if you approve it. Proper signature for us are on down the bottom. So I don't know if you want to have any discussion. There's only one other thing I wanted to bring up before we get to Derek.
Anybody have any discussion on what you're bringing up with the 911?
Last thing I'd say about that is I think everyone has signed with this, with the exception of Leon, the full 3-year deal. They will make their decision in September. And then I wanted to ask Derek, do you want to go ahead and get this ordinance, since I brought it down on the 90.27 out of the way now, you want to go ahead and take it up where you have it? Because I've got it right here ready to go.
We can take it up now.
Okay, so folks, this is the technical amendment that we talked about. I think it was last time. What it says is when there's a violation of the outdoor storage, the junk ordinance, it was requiring that the notice of that to the homeowner, which is required to let them know that we're doing a violation, come from the clerk treasurer. And I think you saw Rita's reaction to that. She didn't really want to be involved in that. That makes them witness. Typically, all these things come through the town manager, sometimes through the police chief. And I also added the town board president as one of the 3 people or their designee who could sign the notice and have it sent out, because those are the 3 folks that I think would typically be involved. And might be called to deal with an outdoor storage or junk ordinance at the hearing, if any, that we ever have. So I'm just changing 90.27. They violate 90.26 which is unlawful storage of outdoor junk. Then under 90.27, either the president, town council, town manager, town police chief, or their duly authorized representatives, so they can delegate that. I would suggest we do that, we do a letter, have it to present to court. Send the notice, give them the notice, here's what's coming, and then what's in it is, of course, what was already, just, all we're doing is changing who's doing it. I do,
I think that section is the only thing that was changed, I think was the clerk treasurer.
right. Yeah, I don't know why the clerk treasurer, nothing against clerk treasurer, but typically they're not gonna enforce outdoor junk
Yeah.
ordinances, they got plenty to do beyond that. And I don't think Rita has any objection, any kind of change either on that.
So we need a motion to approve the revised version here of what.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would be 2025-8-1.
I think we actually have an 8-1 on the agenda tonight.
So you wanna make it
Let's make it 8-3. Or no, this is gonna be 2, 8-2.
8-2?
All right, we have a motion to approve the revised junk ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised ordinance for the junk ordinance of 2025-8-2.
Jerry made a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Maybe seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Tim, that's all I have. Maybe a thing or two come up in Derek's portion, but it does.
All right.
Yeah, just the two.
Yeah, just kind of, I kind of forgot. to mention
Yeah,
that.
I know one thing we noticed since Russell started is, we found people that are kind of tampering with their meters. Either they'll, like it's people that are purchasing properties, I don't know if they're flippers or people that are habitual violators of the, water turned off for non-payment. They're actually going in, opening the meters, turning them on themselves, just caught more. I've heard of it happen a couple times. I didn't know if it's maybe just quite often. Maybe Russell just bringing it to my attention more than in the past. We already have it on the books. You can't do this. There's signs associated with it. So we're gonna probably try to start cracking down on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I said I forgot to mention it, but
Yeah, if I
I
know.
went to one that somebody, I think, had just bought the house, turned water on, it was already on, there was consumption. Went to a few of them that had been shut off for non-payment, they turned back on, they were back on.
Fortunately, the meter does pick up the consumption the second they turn it on, so they do get billed, but I mean, we don't want them in there tearing something up and us having to pay for it and not know what they want. Okay.
Yeah, keep an eye on that.
The first thing I have, 12916 North Street resolution. This is resolution 2025-0801. So this is, as we discussed, I'll point out a couple of things. This is a tweak slightly. So this is the old shoe shop. This just says that the town owns it. We want to promote it for economic development, and that there's a state statute 36-111-4.2 that authorizes us to sell it for economic development purposes. So we have a resolution here that would kind of start that process where we can accept proposals. So number one, we declare that the property is to be disposed of for economic development purposes. I'm proposing the town manager is designated as a disposing agent for the purpose of implementing the sale or transfer of the property. One thing we do have to do is obtain 2 independent appraisals of the fair market value of the property, determine the minimal acceptable value, which shall not be less than the average of the 2. And for the purposes of value, it may be considered monetary, or a combination of aggregated values equal to. So if someone wants to, say we're going to do X, Y, and Z, it's going to cost this much money, we can, accept that as value. And the other thing, I did have an E here, I put in 18 months. Require the such improvements be complete within 18 months of closing and secured by a bond or letter of credit, escrow deposit. I don't know if you guys, that's just something I stuck. We could change that. If you guys want more or less time. And I assume this is something we possibly could change once we get further along in the process too, if we had to. And then the other thing is subsection F, I put the, me as the disposing agent would receive, evaluate offers in consultation with a review committee, which I'm proposing to be 2 council members appointed by council and myself. That way we can kind of meet, move along. We can privately kind of negotiate without having to have special public meetings every time. And then we would make a recommendation to the full council and ask the council for approval. So that's kind of how I have that proposed. If you guys have any changes or want to change, we can certainly tweak any of that too and reconsider it. You know what I mean?
Anybody have any comments or?
So how are you gonna put this word out, get the word out about?
So we're gonna draft, there'll be an RFP packet, and it'll kind of show like our review criteria. I have a rough draft of it, but we have to give like 60 days for them to respond. Then the review committee would review them and say, let's interview, these 3, whatever it is. And then we would kind of rate them, and as long as their value of what they're wanting to do with the property is at least the average of the 2 appraisals, my understanding is that we legally could accept that and work out some sort of agreement similar like we did last time. But I do kind of have a rough draft of a request. So I can kind of share, but we're just asking them to kind of give us their plan, and then what they submit is what the committee will be reviewing.
Who's gonna be on that committee?
So I propose it as 2 members of council, appointed by council and myself. We can change that. If we do 3 or more, just keep in mind, we do have to do the public meetings, because it will be an open door law issue.
Council?
I mean,
On that committee, really?
I'm fine with it.
Great to be on it.
I would like being on.
Jerry and Becky.
You get the ribbon.
Yeah. Jerry and Becky's gonna be on. We have a motion to approve this resolution. As is written.
Or changes.
Or to any changes, if you have any changes. Let's see.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution for 12916 North Street, ordinance 2025-08-01.
That's made a motion. You have a second?
I'll second.
Jerry made a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Does Jerry second that?
Yes.
Now on to our solar projects. I have our sidewalk improvement project on there. The only thing I will note, based off our meeting last week, Tim and I did have a chance to talk. We pointed out, we asked the engineers to maybe justify why their estimates were what they were on some, particularly on the North Street segment going to 262. On the south side of the road, it looks like there's enough space. And then I also pointed out the concerns on Holland Drive, where as soon as you come off North Street, there's the 2 garages. And just asked if they could come and walk with us. So we're gonna do that tomorrow at 10. You're welcome to join us. I'm not saying we're necessarily changing anything, but we just want to make sure
It's
that
about justification for why it was so high.
because I'm a little concerned about the low cost estimate on the Holland section of Western Route. And I think that we're a little high on the North Street section, so. But that's all I have for the.
I did have a question on that. So with the J turns that they put out here, we've got sidewalks that come to a spot and then they stop.
Yeah.
I know we didn't talk about this during our reviews, and I've gone by there and looked at it. Is there any plan to kind of join those at any point in time?
It wouldn't be much to do,
Okay.
and I mean, we probably could do it as part of this project.
If we have any amount that we could put towards it, I think it's something we realistically need to look at.
Right.
Because if we're gonna do all this other work, we ought to tie that into.
Right.
So I know that spot right out there, you've got a drainway that's right there in front of it, but I mean, you should at least consider it, I think.
Yeah.
Trying to tie that in. So that was just a point of emphasis.
I think we could point that out tomorrow. I don't think it'd be much to add that.
Yeah, it's right there and then down over
Anybody wants to walk with tomorrow at 10 o'clock?
I'll keep you guys updated.
Yep.
We don't make any changes without, if it's all. And then our other stellar project, the North Street Streetscaping Project. We do have the Clark Beach engineering contract. I shared that with you all. I think they've been pretty responsive and I'm addressing all my concerns. I know when I've looked at, tried to look around for what, like a reasonable price would be. I mean, it seems like they're within reason for everything I can find. And introduce yourself. If you guys have any questions, I'll let you.
Rob Huckabee with Clark Dietz. Happy to answer any questions or go over any details anybody has. But just want to be present, see if there were any other discussion points to go over. Yeah,
This is the.
Sidewalk.
No, this is the North Street.
This is the North Street. North Street. That's the beautification.
Just make a general comment. We do appreciate you being able to interface with Derek and kind of have these upfront discussions on terms and make sure we get all that ironed out. So the board don't speak for everybody, but we do appreciate it.
and again, Derek was very responsive, good to work with, very reasonable questions and comments. I think we were able to kind of work through just a handful of those topics. But again, I think it's going to be a good project. We're excited to kick it off. I will say, just kind of from a high level perspective, some of the dates and items that were put in the contract are really based on NDOT's prescribed schedule. One of the priorities we talked through early on with this was making sure those first several steps in the project, the design effort, were really, use the words of my coworker, really sprint through those as quickly as we can so that we may have the opportunity to move that funding up the schedule. But again, we have to stick to NDOT's prescribed schedule on when the funding's going to be released. But we've had projects in the past where we queue up that design work early. We're able to accelerate that funding released by NDOT 6 months to 12 months early.
Questions or comments? No? Moving on.
I know I talked about with John, I know there's easy get off clauses. We're unhappy there if we decide we want to back off the project. I mean, I think there was like a 30 or 60-day notice. I know I've talked about looking at potential alternative routes so we can get some of the engineering paid for. I'm otherwise pleased with where we're at with it. Would recommend we move forward.
Thank you.
Are you guys in a position to vote on that contract tonight? Do you have any more questions on it? That's this over here.
Did everybody get their email or what you're concerned with? Text from I have any questions? Anything on the contract? A motion to approve the contract?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with Clark Dietz, the revised contract for Clark Dietz as it stands.
Second? Thank you, second. All in favor? Opposed?
Do you see electronic copy of that?
Yeah, and it's first going to go to NDOT anyway for approval. They'll go to Brandon Cole, and then we'll have notice to proceed from the town before we really start off. NDOT has to approve.
Next was the emergency services garage. I don't have a ton to report, other than, I have been working on getting some kind of specs together for the concrete, the HVAC, electrical work we talked about. I know Jason, I think, mentioned 15.
15,000. The fire department has agreed to, first, go ahead and pledge 15,000 for the bill.
Manchester Metals, they did agree to remove those, they agreed to, and they did remove the terms about the old Missouri stuff in their quote. So I'm just waiting on them to get that signed back to me and get the contract signed. But otherwise, we're still kind of moving forward with that, and still working on getting pricing for the concrete and the electrical.
Yeah, so we don't have a total for all of that, but the concrete and electrical, correct?
Correct. I did talk with an HVAC guy. He was projecting around $3,000 to get heating unit in there. So there's that. I don't. 15,000, I think might touch. I think that might do their concrete. I don't think they'll do the electrical. But I don't know that it's going to be a ton more.
More land.
What's that?
I said we'll get you an oil lamp.
Just don't let water freeze.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have anything else other than, like I said, I'll expect some more pricing, some more quotes for the rest of the work at our September meeting. It's my goal, unless you guys have questions.
The building itself, so is, you got the contract.
I signed to accept the quote. I'm still waiting on a sign in return from their end. And then we issued a proposed contract when we asked for it. So I'm still waiting for them to sign that. So there's still some paperwork to work out, but I've signed that quote on.
Was that through Manchester's Metals or?
Yes.
Okay.
Just nice. Okay. Next is the pickleball basketball courts. So we submitted that grant application a week ago for the $100,000. Let's see. So Dave Romero was the low bid on that. So that's for the pickleball courts was $168,524. The alternate bid one was the basketball courts for $99,000. We don't have to have action on this line by any stretch. Pretty much last year when we got the community foundation grant, it was like a 3-month wait time. So I would say we're not even going to know if we're going to get the funding from them probably until October possibly. But right after if we get that grant, I would say we probably we'll be running, there'll just be a little bit of time left for us to actually accept the quote from Dave O'Mara and proceed with that project. So if we want to do more or less or change our mind, I guess just be thinking of that, because probably September, October, we're going to have to decide on that. There's no questions on that. No other old business. Move on to new business. Personnel policy, I did have one proposed change I would like to see on our sick pay rules and regulations. So I've got a proposal that upon approval by the town council, 25% accrued sick leave may be used by an employee with 40 or more years of service in advance of a planned retirement date for the limited purposes of remaining on the payroll and maintaining health insurance eligibility during that period. Such approval may be granted on a case-by-case basis, documented in the minutes of the council meeting. And then I just reference it again as an eligible use of sick pay. I just think it's a good benefit to provide for someone with 40 or more years of service. That's that. And got a request to follow this up to. So again, this isn't actually paying anyone out. They're not getting a lump sum payment.
Just using their time.
They're just using their time to kind of get to a certain date for Medicare eligibility potentially.
Motion.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
I'll make a motion that we approve, the 35.108 for sick pay rules and regulations. So it's like, section 3 that's been revised here. To approve the 25% of accrued sick leave for anyone with 40 more years service.
I second that.
Made a motion, Jerry second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, aye.
And then we did get a request from Donald Smoltz. He did notify us of his last day. It's gonna be this Wednesday. He sent us a couple weeks back, and then he was going to, would like to use this sick pay through the end of September. So I just want to make sure that's approved for Dino.
Do we have any objections?
Yes. Well deserved.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. No questions on that one. Ordinance 2025-08-01 salary ordinance amendment. So we have been posted and we interviewed for the labor position. And I'm proposing to I've offered it with contingent upon your all's approval to Carson Demeron for at $18 an hour. You guys have comments or questions?
A motion to approve the revised salary ordinance 2025-01.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance of 2025, what was it? 0801.
A second on that?
You guys already used that one.
No,
Now we
we
need
did two.
to. John jumped ahead.
I tried to take it. They wouldn't let me do it. They made me do it.
I thought the North Street resolution was.
That was, this is an ordinance.
All right,
I made the motion.
okay. Jerry made the
I
motion,
second it.
Becky second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Aye.
And then we've already addressed 2025-08-02, I did that earlier, so that's all I have unless you guys have questions.
Just a couple more places about junkie stuff. That's the place out by the liquor store out there.
Yeah.
And then, I think Jerry Bruce's place across from the Dillsboro Inn. He's got couch and everything sitting out on the driveway, it's been there
Oh.
forever and everything else.
And then the house that they've already hit up, I don't even know what else.
Yeah. So that's-
Really nice old car back there. That's-
Yeah.
And a lot of grass. There's a ton of trash on the front porch.
Yeah,
I can say we just cited them into city court today. So we'll have a hearing in the end of September on that
so
one.
it's just gonna say,
One other property. Once we get a kind of, I guess, authorization from a city judge on that, we can actually have that removed.
Okay.
That stuff cleaned up and so we will have to pay for it by the Halloween. I don't really know what we're gonna pay for some of that stuff out, but we'll figure something out.
Who did you cite today for what property?
I don't know the addresses off the top of my head. There's the two we always have issues with.
Was it Jerry Bruce or the one by Jane J?
No.
I think.
Neither one of those.
Oh, oh,
Muncie.
I know.
Muncie was one
I
of,
don't know who the ones the other ones are.
Kyle Smith and it was our.
Any other new business or
I
anything?
can definitely say that our change to this 90.27 will help us.
Anybody else? Anything to do? Any other new business? I just have one thing just to clarify about the fire department statement on last meeting or whatever. I went back through all the old minutes from the time that I became a member here on August 2022. And only thing I found in the minutes was September 12th, when the fire department asked for someone to attend their September 20th meeting to discuss an additional building. And October 24th of 22, council scheduled an October 25th meeting at the fire department about storage and a possible fire EMS merger. And that was the first of many meetings about possible merger. May 9th of 2023, mentioned a possible grant opportunity for a storage building. This was during Kevin Turner's time as manager, and never did find any updates on that as far as any other time. Last mention, let's see, August 14th of 2023 was the last mention of a fire EMS merger. And then after that, I believe EMS was decertified by the state. February 3rd of 2024 is when Derek was hired as town manager. April 8th of 24 is when Drew stated that the fire truck is still outside. Council asked the fire department to put a plan together, bring the council, and stated the township should pay 60%. October 14th of 24, the fire department states quotes received for a building some time ago will need to be updated and bring to council at a future meeting. November 18th, the fire department states the storage location for truck and ATV had been secured until March of 2025. April 14th of 2025, the fire department states that the truck is once again outside. May 12th, 2025, Derek met with the fire department and EMS about storage building, location and size, and write-up specifications were bid. June 9th, Drew asked about storage building progress, and Derek said it was out for bid. July 21st, received 5 bids for a storage building, decided to let Derek pick the best one. Council approved funding up to $85,000, still hoping to get funding from township fire department. So this, as it goes until February 20, from September 12th until February 23rd, with all confusion between changing town managers 3 times and discussion about merging fire department and EMS. The storage building did get lost on both sides of the aisle, as the fire department was supposed to bring bids to council as stated on October 14th. And April 15th, when council was told the truck was outside again, Derek, with council approval, took action, meeting at the fire and EMS in May, advertising for bids in June, and getting funding started in July. And which today we got waiting on them to approve their end of the contract, so that's where we stand with it. So it's.
Do you want us to start every time we discuss something with a town board member to document that? Because that's been talked about numerous times, not just in official meetings. Eric and I talked about that, outside of an official meeting.
Yeah.
So if you want to start calling just official meetings to talk about it, we can. But don't sit there and act like.
I'm here reacting to you, what you brought up to us last meeting or whatever, whether you should push it all on us. And
I'm not pushing it all on you. I'm saying that put it out there how we felt.
Yeah.
We were promised things, we were told things.
Yeah.
I didn't break out dates. But there was other discussions between town board members. I met with Derek in his office not too long after he started, and it was one thing brought up. So just because it's not documented in an official meeting doesn't mean it wasn't talked about.
That's just what I know about it. That's
Maybe what you know about it, but other town board members previous knew about it, and there's been discussions outside of this meeting with other town board members. Or outside of the meetings is all I'm gonna say, so.
Well, obviously, nobody has authority to make a decision like that beyond the town board. And the fire department comes to the town board meeting every month. I mean, maybe I shouldn't intervene here, not trying to. I really value both organizations. And I've never been treated better in my life than I've been treated by Dillsboro. But fire department made its position quite clear, strenuously. Fire department can listen to a response from the town board. Those minutes have been approved every month. Fire department's been here every month. The matter has been resolved and we taken care of. And, I would just suggest if some allegations are going to be made that the ball's been dropped, the statement's going to be made in such a way that it seems like the town board maybe hasn't acted and it should have acted. Town board within its rights to respond.
I 100% agree that the action was made. And I just don't feel like what was said right there was accurate. I mean,
this is what I've got.
that's what's documented in the official meetings is all I'm saying, not what's been happening throughout.
And that's, we brought quotes to other town board members, and they may not be here now. But, you know, we can't help it if certain things need to get related to the entire town board.
So since we're going off of feelings at this point, it feels like that the fire squad came to us and they said, hey, this is an issue. And there's been previous town council members that have promised this and promised this and promised us. You guys are looking to do something. They're looking to us to do something. We made a decision. After we made that decision, pledged money, it feels like you guys went back, said, okay, now that they've approved this much money, we want a little bit extra. We're gonna pull from our kitty and approve $15,000 from ours to get a little bit more.
That was never the intention. It was our intention, and we had told the council and these previous council members that we pledged money. We didn't officially do it, but that was our intention.
Okay.
It was known that we intended to help with this bill.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there was something that was stated in the past that you guys have other funds that are set aside for addition in the future. Is that correct?
We have land, we don't have additional.
So you'd have no reserve funds or anything like that?
Not for a building.
For that? No building?
No building. There's land there, there's no building.
Okay. So then, like I said, that's just what was felt from at least me. I don't want to speak for the rest of the board members.
I appreciate the board stepping up. They were very frustrated. And like I said last time, I felt like we were getting pressure. Now that all of a sudden it's here, let's do it. And you guys need to have a special meeting when there was no hurry before. And now all of a sudden you guys need to call a special meeting.
I understand that. So
I was frustrated, and the fact that, you know, he responds to it with that, there was other conversations had that don't get documented. I just felt like he just called us out for incorrect stuff that was said incorrectly, which wasn't.
Well, yeah, the other discussions aren't council discussions. I mean,
But when they're with a council member
Yeah.
or two council members, that's expected to be brought back to council from our side.
It wasn't though.
It wasn't.
Just so you know.
Well, I can't control that. I mean, that's-
Yeah, we can't either. That's it. That's the thing.
But I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
You guys are the council now, so you're the brunt.
Yeah. And
So-
we're getting it done. We got every month we've been working on it and it's getting done.
So let it be understood though, that at least the council does support you all. And so we are gonna have these discussions and we can't help what was said in the past, but at the same time, moving forward, we can try and resolve those issues.
Yeah, and also there's 5 of us. There's not 2 or whatever, there's 5 of us on this council.
Anybody else got anything? Any comments for anybody? A motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Dustin made a motion to adjourn. I'll second. Charlie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Charlie.